The road to Damascus could never have been paved more clean for Norbert Mao than it was this week when he, in a shocking twist, led his party, the Democratic Party, into an agreement with the ruling NRM. The move that saw Mao appointed Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister ended a 42-year bitter political row between Museveni and the Democratic Party. But will the charming, self-assured and tongue-lashing Mao deliver a united DP to the NRM? Will his new appointment breathe fresh air into a constitution that the opposition have bitterly contested for 4 election cycles? Or will it, like the ones before him, be another wipeout of an established party? Tonight on the spot is Democratic Party Secretary General Dr. Gerard Siranda, former DP Attorney Honorable Medad Segona, and Captain Francis Babu, a senior politician from the ruling party. Gentlemen, thank you so much for having honored our invitation. A warm welcome to all of you here, sirs.
Thank you for having us.
Let me begin with you, Dr. Gerard Siranda, because you are the Secretary General of the Democratic Party. You had a meeting with the President Yoweri Museveni yesterday, and you had a cooperation agreement signed, and just today, your party president has been appointed Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Is it binding?
Thank you, Patrick, and the management of the NTV and our viewers out there. I want to appreciate the members of the Democratic Party for having given me the opportunity to be serving in this position. Yes, Patrick, we signed a memorandum, an agreement, cooperation agreement, not a coalition agreement, not a merger agreement, but a cooperation between the 2 entities. The cooperation agreement is between the NRM, that was committed by the chairman of the NRM, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, witnessed by the Right Honorable Richard Odwong, the Secretary General of the NRM, and the DP that was committed, whose Norbert Mao, the President General of the party, committed DP in that agreement, and I witnessed the agreement. The cooperation agreement follows the long-term discussion that have been happening between, first it started with our leader and the leader of the NRM. And our leader said, I'm not going to go the way many people have gone as an individual. And asked the president, do you want my head as a person? Do you just want my picture to mix in? Or do you want the ideas of the Democratic Party? We felt that, and several of us, including myself, that had been approached to take on different roles within. And we felt that picking from history, because every time Uganda is at a standstill, the Democratic Party shows up. Every time Uganda seems to be torn apart, like we are now, the Democratic Party is always showing up. We borrowed from the history of Ben Chiwanuka and what he did. He also entered the cooperation, an agreement with Yamin then. And we went and walked the journey to Paul Kawanga Semogerere. And I want members to know that Norbert Mao is not the first DP president to be minister. There was Dr. Sevana Kizito, was former minister. There was Kawanga Semogerere, was a minister. We've had Ben Chiwanuka. He was first prime minister, and then he became the chief justice. And so like I said, negotiations have been there, but we drafted the agreement. Actually, Honorable Norbert Mao drafted the agreement that he shared with the members of parliament. He asked the whip, Honorable Court Peter, to invite the members of parliament to discuss the agreement.
So it appears the negotiations have been clandestine, Lokitano, and behind the curtain.
But you know state crafting. You can't just bring things, it will collapse on arrival.
So you are confirming behind the scenes, behind the curtains, under the darkness, you have been talking DNRM.
It's not about the darkness.
Because you do not want to be in the open, because people will blow it out of proportion. Is that what you're saying?
We are committed to discuss with the organs, which we have done.
So have you made any consultation with the executive of the Democratic Party, with the other party organs, so that you can go with the full weight of the force of the Democratic Party?
What happens in the DP is that the president is the CEO of the party.
The CEO does not consult?
No, you asked me. When you invite me here, you ask me to speak.
I am asking you.
Yeah, and allow me space to explain.
Okay.
If you didn't want me, then I wouldn't have been here. So I'm sure you invited me because you think I can say something.
I invited you to ask you the questions, sir, and I'm asking you questions.
And when you ask the questions, you let a person speak.
Yeah, but if you meander off, my job is to make sure I bring you back to where the question should be.
No, I think I don't want you to be biased in this discussion.
No, I'm not biased, Dr. Serrano.
Allow me to speak because it is me that has the information that you want. So allow me to speak. I signed the commitment. I signed the cooperation agreement, so I was there. And allow me to explain to the viewers, because this program is for the viewers out there. It's not only for us that are here, for the viewers. And I'm speaking to the viewers because I know my audience is the viewers. And so there have been these discussions, and we thought that we wanted to commit, we wanted to go into this cooperation as an institution, not individuals, because we have seen several individuals that have gone without any single commitment, and there were clear parameters that are taking us to this cooperation. In that cooperation, it has issues of national dialogue. I'm sure you've looked at the document. If you haven't, I can share the document with you. You will appreciate that document. And we only pray that it becomes a reality. But it's a good document for this country. Uganda is sick. Uganda is at a standstill. Uganda is torn apart. And we believe that all of us have a contribution to play to taking Uganda forward. DP has signed several agreements.
Torn by who?
Several. Tribal, regions, religion, and several. And I'm sure if you live in this country,
it is being run by the NRM.
That's why all of us have to contribute.
So if NRM is tearing Uganda apart, you're joining into the tearing.
No, Uganda is now like a sick client that requires several consultants.
But who is infecting Uganda?
Several consultants. All of us have a role to play, and all of us have contributed. And we believe that times like this, in a nation like Uganda with a leader that have overstayed in power, in most of the nations, people come together. And we believe that we've signed agreements. And nobody queried us when we signed the DP block. We signed the DP block agreement. I didn't hear you call me here to explain why we have signed the DP block. We signed the TDA agreement. You did not call us to explain why we have signed the TDA agreement. We signed the IPC. We've signed the Grand People's Coalition. We signed we committed the party into the Tojikwata Code that birthed People Power, that birthed NUP, Honorable Segona's party. Now, this is why
I'm calling you, because you are party chairman and the party president. I've been hearing him talk for several years.
Yes.
He's a man, by the way, who's an inspiring leader.
Yes.
And I remember him telling us that he inspired me, and talking about, if you remember the UB40, the Ugandans below 40, that whom he thought maybe was going to usher them into another generation of leaders that never came to be. But he referred the NRM more or less like the devil. In fact, he said, for those who are joining the NRM, it's like dining with the devil. But you better go with your long fork.
But we already
I hope now he has a long fork.
We're already working with NRM within the iPod platform.
But he called them the devil. And he was telling others who went before him, and was like, I hope you are now using your long fork because you are dining with the devil.
We are not cooperating with NRM because we like the NRM. We are cooperating with NRM because we like Uganda, and we believe the time is now to cooperate. Look at Raila Odinga. Did you ever think that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta would be supporting Raila Amolo Odinga?
Okay, let me take a pause.
Or did you even believe that Moses Wetangula or Musalia Mudavadi would break from Raila and they would be with William Ruto?
I've had an opportunity, by the way, to, as a reporter, to see the Honorable Norbert Mao at a close quarter. And you know, there are some words he's been saying that are so binding and so inspiring sometimes, and you wonder, is he the same man? Because he said those who were changing positions, I remember at one point, they are playing what he called the politics of one Wendi, one Wendira. This is where I am,
No,
and this is
no,
where
no.
I eat from. Has he been in DP? That's where Wendi and NRM, Wendira?
Look at DP, don't look at Norbert Mao. We have gone to this corporation as an entity. We are the DP. We have gone to this as an entity, and we believe that everybody that is out there, look at what we have gone to do in terms of contribution. We are saying that Uganda needs a national dialogue. The president of Uganda, the chairman of NRM and the DP have committed to that. We are saying we need a national reconciliation and truth-telling. We have committed to that. We are saying that we need, and his assignment, he will be coordinating justice law, order sector, issues of constitutional review, constitutional reforms. It has been assigned to him to do those roles. And we believe that the DP has an history and a contribution for Uganda.
Is NRM committed to constitutional reforms?
I know. I am talking about the
Are you dealing with a partner who is willing to change?
I am saying that we're talking about the agreement. We don't want to play the devil's advocate.
Okay.
The NRM has been there.
All right, Dr. Saranda, let me bring in the other panelists here. Let me begin with you. You're a former attorney of the Democratic Party. You're now, when you see what is happening in your, I don't know whether it's still your home or not, but are you maybe saying, well, I told them? Is this what, in your heart, are you saying, I saw this coming?
I thought the agreement or the cooperation agreement has two parties, and that is my young brother Gerard and my brother Captain Francis Babu, because it is between their parties.
Yeah, because this is, you could actually be having the last laugh.
That notwithstanding, good evening viewers out there. First of all, like Gerard said, Honorable Norbert Mao is not the first person to work with the NRM. The only difference is that he has not learnt from those that worked with the NRM and got frustrated, including those who thought they were NRM. I want you to start looking at the history of everybody that has decided to cooperate with President Museveni and whether he keeps his covenant. I don't know how old you were in 1985 when he signed an agreement in Nairobi with Tito Okello Lutwa. And Major John Kazora writes his book, Betrayed by My Leader. Immediately after signing, he got out of the meeting and called people in the bush and said, please continue. As they are sleeping in the faith of this agreement, you continue, push on. And indeed, they continued with their assault. Now, with respect to the Honorable Norbert Mao, first, Honorable Mao is qualified for the job of minister. And especially justice minister. Secondly, he has not been busy. So, if it is about committing time to either serve the country or himself,
I like the way how you're softening the blow. Okay.
It was timely for him. Thirdly,
get a job.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, yes. Thirdly, the Honorable Norbert Mao has been indicating to people in the opposition that he's better off cooperating with the NRM. I was on a TV show with him, and they said, no, I think now, for me, I am available. I can work with the NRM more than I want to work with the rest of you in the opposition. For the record, Honorable Mao is a personal friend. We share some history. I've been his lawyer. You've been calling me a former DP attorney. Yes, at some point I represented the party, but I've been closer to him than anyone else. I've been his lawyer. I think I got him out of prison 3 times myself. So we are friends, even when we parted ways. But like I did say, I think he saw himself expiring, because I think he's 54, 5, somewhere there, and he said, you know, like General Salim Saleh at some point said, in the Ndifasifu Seko minister, will I die before I become a minister? Now, I do not have any personal problem with the Honorable Norbert Mao joining the NRM. I left the Democratic Party in broad daylight with a number of colleagues, and mine was not a surprise. I actually made a telephone call to him because I found it courteous as the person who was Secretary General of that party, acting, even when he disputed me. Because he was my president, I made a telephone call to him and I said, well, because you have told us to go, you are not at peace with us. We are leaving. I don't want you to receive this news in the papers. I had a meeting with the person I knew as my deputy, my brother Gerard. He was trying to persuade, let me be fair to him, he was trying to persuade me to remain. And as he was in my office persuading me to remain, the president was out addressing a press conference telling people we should go. Now, I'm one of those that kept persuading my colleagues, do not continue with the rhetoric that Norbert Mao is dining with Museveni. Because I asked them a question, if the two are dining, what is the purpose of their dining? They are dining to destroy this party. Now, if you inflame those temperatures, will it serve the interests of the party, or it will tear the party apart? And in that case, therefore, if they have an agreement, you will simply be facilitating that agreement by lighting that fire. I don't think I was wrong. I was right. But it is not that I did not know or suspect that these people were working together somehow. In 2011, the Honorable Norbert Mao stood, and his campaign, his attacks were all directed at Dr. Kizza Besigye. I did not support him then. And the reason is, I told him, I believe these parties are stronger by fielding one candidate, one strong candidate. I even told him, I think when I went to get him out of Chira Road, when they had arrested him, that you're still young. You're much younger than Dr. Besigye. You let him exhaust his chances if he's to lose. And if he's to win, let's win together. Because he told me, I'm giving Museveni one more shot. And he was in Chira Road. In 2016, when he persuaded me to go and support Honorable Mama Mbabazi, I saw this as a spirit of working together. But the effort was to remove Yoweri or Yeseri Tibuhaburwa. I understand he also became Museveni along the way. That was the objective. Let's remove Museveni and establish a democratic governance together. In 2021, with all the discussions that we had towards unity of our parties and removing Museveni, he decided to take on, and he said he was taking on Museveni. When it came to the voting, to the elections, the campaigns, his virulent attacks were directed at Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. And I said, I used these words, again consciously. I said, either consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously, the Honorable Norbert Mao is working for Museveni. There are others who insisted that it was deliberate, he was conscious. And of course, you can accuse Norbert Mao of anything else.
But all the 11 people on the ballot, sir, were fighting for one job. So each one, whether it was President Museveni or the Honorable Kyagulanyi or General Muntu, they were fighting for one job. So
I do not think that is the way to go. You see, you can accuse Norbert Mao of anything else, but not that he doesn't have a brain. So everything he does, including those that you may consider mistakes, he does them deliberately, and he chooses whether to act in good or bad faith, either to conspire against Ugandans or to work for them. Now, fast forward, I saw this agreement coming, but not the formal way. I knew that they have been informally working together. And we did state at at some point that we know these people are working together. Now that they have decided to go public, first, it's a love relationship that they've been hiding, that has been kept in informality, which they have formalized. And to me, I am okay with it to the extent, one, that DP is not my party. Two, that my brother will have a job as a minister for which he's competent. Number three, my only concern is that taking a party into an arrangement of this nature, they're calling it a cooperation, it can be an alliance, it can even be a merger. And I know that they do not have a common understanding of the agreement they signed. In Museveni's terminology, it is a merger. And if you're to understand how President Museveni works, just look at his relationship with UPC and whether you can enter a cooperation agreement with him and continue to claim that you're opposing him. First, what are you cooperating to do with him? You've been telling the world that you're opposing him. Now are you going to oppose him in cooperation? Two, you have been telling, you just mentioned a few things. As I was growing up, I heard with my own ears Honorable Norbert Mao telling the world that when a fish is beginning to rot, it begins from the head, and that the President Museveni was the first one to get rotten. It came from him. Two, he said at some point that when you have flies around you, don't look around for who is smelling. You know you're smelling. I don't know whether he got a perfume for the man, that now they can cooperate.
Okay, let me.
Thirdly,
now that you're beginning to ascend a certain ladder.
Without going through the organs of a party, you cannot commit people's party.
Are you a member of that party?
All right, let me bring in the Honorable Captain Francis Babu here.
Why are you getting agitated this time if you have
gentlemen.
nothing to defend? For the first time you're getting so agitated.
No, because you're
Yes,
trying to blackmail the party that you left.
Excuse me, Dr. Siranda, he actually listened to you throughout.
I did.
No, but when you're misleading, I think
I saw you misleading and I kept quiet.
And actually is trying to do the same.
I used my tongue.
Yes. Honorable Captain Francis Babu, let me bring you in here because you served high up there in NRM as a minister, as a member of parliament, as an elder, and you have witnessed what is going on here. So how do you read this new phenomenon?
Thank you very much. Although I support the NRM, I'm no longer in that level you're talking about, but I'm also an independent mind.
Yes.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank you very much for having us here. And secondly, we're living in interesting times because our politics is going to another level. I want us to think very carefully how multi-party politics works. A lot of people in this country, and I've said it many times, do we understand how multi-party politics works? I want to start today by giving an example of Israel, an example of Italy, an example of some European countries where they have a lot of parties, and how when forming government, sometimes even people who are foes get together to form government.
Just in Kenya, yeah.
I'm coming to Kenya. I'm just trying to tell you, do we understand multi-parties the way they work? Now we come to Kenya, where we've had the former elections, where parties went in one area, another group went to another group, and they formed two coalitions whereby they had elections. Eventually it was not very good, but they eventually elected. We are seeing foes getting together in other countries. Then we go to the people who actually started multi-parties. They seem to know how to work with them. As I've been watching the British system right now, what is happening in Britain, I saw some interesting things going on. I look at the Americans. I also see what is going on. Do we, in Africa, and in Uganda, do we really understand multi-parties, or we are groping in the dark and hoping that we understand them? Now, when we go to the history of this country, starting from 1962, 1964, when one party crossed the floor and went on the other side, and from that moment on, the parties started having problems. That is the beginning. And that was not NRM then. One party crossed the floor, and the man who crossed the floor immediately became a Minister of Internal Affairs. The same minister put the leader, the President General of the party, in prison. So we can continue getting the historical background of this country, how parties have been moving from one side to the other. We come all the way up to Amin's time, then we come all the way up to 1980, another group also crossed the floor. What I'm trying to say here, and I'm very serious, do we understand what parties are? Taking those who signed agreements, for this, what you're talking about are symptoms of a problem which is bigger than just signing agreements. Are these parties ideological? Do they, or are they parties which are formed because they want to get into leadership, but with no ideology? So when we do that, we then calm down. The rhetoric I hear from different parties are unfortunate. We must get a line and understand that parties are run with a bit of humility. You can't go on using such language all the time. I've been hearing heads getting rotten and what. In my opinion, that's disgusting. Multi-parties is a sportsmanship spirit. You must have a spirit of understanding, give and take in some cases. And where you have too many parties, some parties sometimes get together for the sake of the country to develop. I'm now taking all where they have a lot of parties.
But Captain,
and the reason I'm coming, in recent time, in fact, in Israel, recently, in the last 1 year or 2 years, there was a time they couldn't even form a government. Because the small parties, which seemed to support the other two parties to make, they couldn't. Because some of them were so against the other parties. But eventually, for the sake of the country, they got together. Now the question now comes, are these parties, including the one you claim is mine, are these parties really interested in this country? Are we on the journey of developing a multi-party politics, if you like, platform, where we can all work together? Must we destroy each party? Must we destroy each other? These are questions we must answer. Now we go to your question about today. If you really talk about like that, I'll start with the opposition. All the parties that get together to try and become one, to fight the party which is in power, they also have agreements. The last time they were here, they were meeting in Aguru, they formed something and they wanted to have one candidate to stand against NRM.
TDA. Yes.
They all went there, they signed the agreements. I never had anybody become so excited. Their members never came out. Right now, there are parties in the opposition which are cooperating in parliament and they call themselves opposition. Now, that cooperation started with the opposition. Right now, one of the parties said, no, wait a minute. You guys, let's talk. They have something called iPod, isn't it? Most of them are supposed to sit there and discuss. To me, that's a platform where they discuss the differences and find solutions to the problems of this country. Now, if they feel that from iPod they could go a little bit further and come up with something a little bit better than iPod, then that's a different argument also. However, let me say this. I do not agree with NRM if they are out to destroy other parties. If this coalition, this agreement which they made, is the DP remains DP and the other one remains NRM and they work together, that I'll agree, because I have not seen the agreement. So I don't want to be unfair to either party. I'm not going to insult anybody. And by the way, let me say this. I want the politicians in this country from now onwards find a way to talk so that they are not condescending others, they are not insulting others. They are trying to bring them on board and trying to take this country in the right direction. And I'd like to thank my brother here for having talked about Mao as a person. Mao as a person has got all the qualification that can make him anything in this country. And even my brother here can be, even the other one can be. These are people who can be leaders in this country. And I do not want to use the kind of language, I have got it in Kiganda, I want to put it in English, but it's not coming. Okujerega is the Kiganda word. Okujerega mau, I don't want to do it. I want you, if you're saying it truly, that Mao is, let him be qualified, but don't condescend, don't belittle him. So what I'm trying to say now, this agreement, if it was made in good faith, DP remains as DP, and NRM remains an NRM, and then DP brings in a new proposal so that this country can be run on a better steed, if you like. I'm in for it. But if the idea is to destroy DP, I'm not in for that.
Okay, gentlemen, hold on to your points. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask, are we in a democracy with no Democrats? We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Dr. Gerard Saranda, Secretary General of the Democratic Party, the Honorable Captain Francis Babu, and the Honorable Medad Segona. And we're discussing, can I call it, the Honorable Norbert Mao's Damascus Road turnaround. Looks like that. But let me, Dr. Saranda, there have been contestations, especially on how the NRM party and the leadership has handled politicians. For example, the Honorable Bet Namboze, beaten, injured, and other politicians who have been beaten, injured, sometimes very severely. So in your cooperation agreement, are they committed as NRM?
Myself, I carry a scar out of being beaten up by the police.
So in this,
in Ginger,
in this cooperation agreement, do they commit, first of all, to go back to those things, investigate them, and maybe, truth-telling, and to do away with them as you move forward?
Thank you.
And do you believe them? Because there's a lot of deception I seem to see in the NRM, and there's a history for that, and there's a record to show.
I think DP has given more to this country, but politics of deceit is kind of cheated it. But DP loves Uganda more, and we put Uganda first. I want to first assure the Honorable Francis Babu that in this cooperation agreement, we have remained with the DNA of the Democratic Party. We have not merged, and we've said that we shall remain sitting all our National Executive Committee meetings and all those, but we'll bring a policy in terms of, we want to see, we want to bring a contribution, the DNA of the Democratic Party. What we are trying to do is something that Dr. Samogel did not do. He had an agreement, a gentleman's agreement. We've put this on paper, and we want to make it public. And this agreement has a way, if we're not moving well, we can easily walk out of it and say, we're not moving the way we're supposed to be moving. And we have key things that we think Uganda needs this discussion. And it's not only here, in Germany. The leader of the SDP, he's been the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Merkel, from Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Party, from CDU rather. And it is about an alignment of what do you want to do. What is in the country now requires a consensus building. And we think that in DP, the president is as well aging. It's clearly put on the wall. We're not dealing with the president that was here when he was still strong and energetic and all those.
If you may pause, the examples you're giving are not examples of people who are jailing you, who are injuring you, who are going for your jugular like you're telling us.
Let me give you an example. Do you know what the government of Jubilee was doing to NASA? Can you ever believe that Raila Amolo Odinga now is seated with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Uhuru as the chairman of the coalition? That now NAC Kenya's leader, Martha Karua Wangari, is now the running mate, after even opposing BBI yesterday. The BBI was a project spearheaded by Building Bridges Initiative, spearheaded by Raila Amolo Odinga and the President Uhuru Kenyatta. Martha went to court. They annulled it. Today she's the running mate. Sometimes you need to put the country ahead and agree on a project called Uganda. The way we became Ugandans is a project we need to review. Bukedi, Busoga, and all those into a company of the British. We believe as a DP that we need a dialogue on Uganda, bringing in everybody, not only politicians, bringing in senior people and other people to discuss this project called Uganda. Where did we start from? Where are we and where did we get lost? That requires leadership. It doesn't require me to look at Honorable Babu with the history of yesterday. I only look at Honorable Babu with what is he bringing to this coalition? What is he bringing to this work? We believe that we need truth, reconciliation, truth-telling. We have hurt ourselves. You know that Nelson Mandela as well, they started looking at him as a betrayer. But he looked at a bigger initiative. The bridge is built from both sides. Sometimes we may all want to fight and we're enemies, but we need to use the bridge. Mandela says you cooperate with your enemy to get that bridge sorted. And we believe that we're not going to leave Uganda to only president and we run away. We have done cooperation with opposition.
You know,
Kamara, I want you to allow me to
President General Mao has, over the years, used words that are not palatable. You know, for example, he's the one who said that, be careful the words you use. They should be soft and tender.
This is the same
because
this is the same Mao that said let's negotiate with Kony.
One day you'll be told to swallow your own words.
If Norbert Mao can negotiate, if Norbert Mao can negotiate,
is he now eating his humble pie?
If Norbert Mao can lead the process of negotiation with Joseph Kony, why not negotiate for his country? To the bush with Joseph Kony in Garamba, why not Uganda? The Uganda is at a time that needs all of us to appreciate, put pride aside, put whatever feelings we have to discuss this project called Uganda. We know that the courts have always said that our constitution has issues. It has been mutilated, you know, and several things castrated. The Honorable Mao and the Democratic Party, under this arrangement, they are going to lead a process of a constitutional review, coordinate the justice, law and order sector, fix these things that we say, we have been saying NRM has done them. Now it is under the DP to fix them. Issues on constitutionalism, our elections. We want to see a transition. By the way, in this agreement, it has something called the transition without bloodshed. This same agreement, signed by the president, who you think will not. This President Museveni has not honored many things, but he has also honored some things. You look at the agreement he had with Moses Ali and the team. There are a few things within those agreements that he has honored. He may have not honored 100%, but there are things that he has tried to do. The agreement of cooperation with the DP is unprecedented. I have never seen President Museveni sign with civilians. And people that are saying DP has not done something right, they also have a room to engage President Museveni in a negotiation of what they want. We have done these engagements with opposition. Nobody has insulted us. We put over 500 million shillings of the little money DP contributes and DP gathers. Within the smaller number we have, we want to appreciate the Honorable Segona. He was our member then, and courtesy of him, we managed to get some resource. We invested in a reunion. We invested in the Tojikwatako event. We invested in building and working together with the Honorable Chagulanyi. Nobody insulted us then. DP is an entity. You're not going to choose for us who we cooperate with. We believe that the challenges in this country requires all of us to appreciate that we on a time bomb, we all must contribute. All of us have whatever multiple skills God had given us. In our entity, however small they are, we must appreciate that Uganda is sick.
Okay.
And Uganda needs all of us.
Honorable Medad Sagona, President Yoweri Museveni is on record having said that he's working towards to see there's no opposition in Uganda. And considering the politics of the seat in this country, hasn't DP been gobbled?
Uhuru said, tutakufinya, leo anatumika na
Raila mambo yao in Kenya.
No, we were not in a, we were not, this, we also keep it from our neighbors.
That's a different siyasa.
That's, well, first of all, like I've said consistently and persistently, I have no problem with something called a national dialogue. In fact, I'm a proponent of national dialogue. I agree with Gerard that this country is sick. The only difference is that I know the person who carries the virus. And before I deal with the person who has the virus, I disinfect myself. Now the trouble with my brothers is before going to dine with the person who carries the virus that has seen.
Okay, we're assuming Uganda is like a patient with a tumor. You know where the tumor, what the tumor is?
Yes, and I'm saying they have not disinfected before dining with the person who carries the virus. The person who carries the virus is the person, he said, inflicted a scar on him. Is the same person who is locking up thousands of young Ugandans simply because they were dressed in red the other day and opposed him in an election he himself organized. The person carrying the virus is the person who has brought the economic misery to this country. This is something we have agreed on with him until yesterday. Now, national dialogue. I thought if you're talking about national dialogue, you must set the table first and agree together that we agree on the following. Now, when it gets to the level of implementation, is where you start saying, okay, Norbert Mao is a highly qualified lawyer. He will lead us in legal reforms. I want to tell him, first, the person you're saying you're cooperating with, and in good faith, is the same man who said, actually he had predicted by 2021, there will be no opposition in Uganda. He said, I will finish them, and use the word, I will finish them. Number two, this is the same person. I have given you a history. Everybody that has worked or cooperated with him has left crying, and you imagine that for you will be different. And if you're talking about national dialogue, you do not do it under what he said, statecraft. A national dialogue is conducted in the open, that everybody, through representation, will participate, and the issues you're dialoguing over are put on table. Until yesterday, or even today, President Museveni was specifically asked on the question of national dialogue and said, what is there to be dialogued over? He said, everything is okay. Ugandans went to the ballot, they voted a government of their choice, and we are doing very well. The person who says they are sick, the country is sick, is saying, talking of national dialogue. When you're talking about national dialogue, what is the nation? You mean the nation is NRM stroke its chairman and DP stroke its president? No. You get the stakeholders. He talked of the entities that formed this thing called Uganda. Buganda, Busoga, Bukedi, where? Who did they consult? Over what? And you know, when I was taking him on this question of the organs of the party, he asked me, are you a member of DP? DP, like the Honorable Norbert Mao said when he was talking about NUP and its problems, was saying, look, this is a public party. It is a public entity. It is registered. And what you are doing has an effect on the lives of Ugandans, including me. But for you, what you call national dialogue starts with signing and appointment. And you know, you can read the faith that you have a country that has been running for 1 year without a minister for justice. And the position is reserved for the ultimate beneficiary. And I'm not begrudging him. If I wanted to be minister in this government, I think I would have been. My brother has taken the option of being one of them. I have absolutely no problem with that. I am only talking about principles. You know, those parties sit through their organs, and the country knows this is what we are discussing. We all come together. For example, who knows whether we would have joined the discussion if we were persuaded to say, this is what we're going to do. And we even set timelines. The person you're talking about as the person who will honor this agreement, let me tell you, since I joined the parliament in 2011, has been talking about constitutional reforms. The Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, as leader of our parliament, 9th and 10th parliament, kept pushing government, please bring these reforms. Let's discuss them. We went together, traversed this country. I was still in DP. And we collected the people's views, and we came up with a compact. What Ugandans want addressed in a constitutional amendment. They were discussed even in their iPod. When it came to amending the constitution in the 9th parliament, the president or government brought, I think, about 5 clauses, and none of those was in that compact. In 2000, and you know, they told us, I remember I wrote a minority report as Justice Minister for the opposition, Shadow Justice Minister. I wrote a minority report that encompassed all those views that we had collected from the country. And for the first time in the history of this country, the history of Parliament, Captain Babu has been a member of Parliament. Once you bring a minority report, it is either adopted or rejected. None was done to this report. I said, look, these views are legitimate. We got them from the people of Uganda. We submitted them to government. They are not contained in here. Why? Because they decided to bring those shallow amendments at the end of the term. And listen, this is what happened. Honorable Fred Ruhindi was a Deputy Attorney General then, came and made an undertaking on the floor of the House. We have agreed as government, we are forming a constitutional review commission. Immediately, in the next parliament, there's going to be a review process. I asked him, supposing you do not win, and he had a very bright answer. He said, no, if you win and you're championing this, you'll have an opportunity to put them on the floor. And those of us who will be in the opposition will support you because it is a position we have adopted and agreed. Throughout the 10th parliament, I was there. I was still Justice Minister in the opposition. We kept demanding. We even attempted to bring constitutional amendment through our Attorney General, the Honorable Wilfred Nwagaba. It was frustrated. How did it get to the floor? The government, when we asked government to give us a certificate of financial implications, they kept quiet. Skillfully, they did not know that we had passed a law where we indicated that if government keeps quiet on a request to provide a statement, a financial approval, and the days elapse, it is automatically assumed that they have given a certificate of financial implications. But even then, they frustrated that. They came with an amendment. They allowed the amendment of Honorable Raphael Majezi on age limit, and nothing beyond age limit. So those are the people you're trusting. I know that you're not going to break your heart, Gerald Sranda, my brother, because you also know, deep down in your heart, you know that on the Genome 70 is not going to honor. But the short-term gains, one of which has been registered today, and the next short-term gain of allowing my brother Gerard to go to Yala, those will be achieved. You're talking about...
You're actually concluding that they are sending him to Yala, right?
I mean, yes, they passed it in SEC. And I'm okay with it. Because, I mean, I would have supported him as well. But SEC adopted him as a candidate. Those will be achieved. Because to Genome 7, they are minor. First, they will help Genome 7 to do away with FDC in Yala, to do away with NUP in Yala. When you talk about General Moses Ali, and that, you know, he honored the agreement of what? Of appointing him minister after locking him up?
Okay, okay, let me go to Honorable Captain Francis Babu. There's that audacity of hope from the Democratic Party that this time around what is agreed upon maybe will be worked on. You know the history of Uganda, but you also know the history of the party at one point you worked for, and you're independent-minded.
Yes.
Is that...
I thought he was still a member.
Is there, well, he says,
thank you very much.
Is that hope really grounded in
yeah, one very, very important point. My brother here was talking about it. Forget about it, we're talking about now. Listen, wise people have said the past makes the present, and the present makes the future, whether you like it or you don't like it. Now, the people who are concerned and who are worried have got examples they quote for you of things that have happened. And they are not happy that for them to be able to go into this environment to even talk, they want to see some sort of action. There is a fear of destroying the opposition, the one you've just talked about. And they've got example. They take people from these parties, make them ministers, and they drop them tomorrow. Two things have happened. The party where you took the person from no longer wants the person. Secondly, the person now becomes totally washed out.
You're discarded.
Discarded. And the examples are there. The late Mutagamba, remember her? Very powerful DP. We have, in recent time, we've had other DP members who have been put into the system and dropped. We had one recently, young lady who was a minister for youth. She was dropped.
Nakiwala King.
Then there was another person brought in, dropped. The question is it done in good faith or is it done to destroy? That is the thinking.
Ephraim Kamuntu in the same office?
That's right. The people, what I'm trying to say, the people who are in these parties, they are worried that they are seeing these things happening. Is this being done in good faith or in bad faith? Now, that's why I'm trying to say, Siranda, please be very careful, because the other people are suspicious with these kind of things that have happened before here, where people have been taken to from these parties and they've become, the people in the other parties have completely discarded them, and then the NRM also discards them the second time. So the person is walking around politically completely destroyed. So these are points we must talk about, and people are concerned. I don't think people have got very bad intentions. They just want to say, please, first of all, what is this national catastrophe that we must now talk about? You as NRM, what is the national problem that you want us to take part in? Is it the economy we are having now? Is it the problem of security? What are we talking about? So the people are asking for DP to join. Are they going to help us to overcome these problems? When you talked about national dialogue, you asked the Interreligious Council. Then you talked about the elderly. What happened? Suddenly, you are now saying you want to try and find a solution to this in the national government. Do we want to form a national government in reality? A national government means that everybody who is in the political arena is consulted so that we can make a national government. To me, it looks like, and I'm sorry to say this, Mr. Siranda, you've been taken when you're at your weakest point. And there's no way when you're at a weaker point you can negotiate.
You have no leverage.
You don't have any leverage at all. If that is what is being intended. But if the intention is different, then somebody needs to tell me that no, our negotiation is nothing like that. It's not a national dialogue. We're just going to sit down and according to our agreement, these are the things we are going to do.
Okay.
But the people, and by the way, I've been listening the whole day today, about different groups who are completely concerned. And I want to lay the fears of all our people that instead of quarreling, instead of getting annoyed, instead of what can we find out really how we can help? My worry is people don't trust government. People don't trust NRM. And I can tell you why. Right now, the leadership of parliament is not NRM. It is people who came to NRM, again taken from the opposition. The people within NRM, some of them have been discarded. So some of us are beginning to believe in some of the things that are being said, that there is an intention of destroying certain political, if you like, boundaries, even within the NRM. So I am interested in this country. Is the method being used going to help this country? And I want to tell my friends who have now signed this that yes, I hope it can help us. I hope and I pray. That's my prayer. But what I have seen, you discard some of your strong supporters. You go and then destroy the opposition. What is the intention? And then you look at the people who are being made ministers. Where are they from? So, to me, I like to agree with my brothers on the other side that there is an intention of destroying multi-party dispensation. If we want multi-parties to work, we've got to build them together. And the person who is in power at the moment should be the one to build up all the other political parties so that we can have parties that can work for this country and therefore bring about national unity.
Okay. Dr. Sidanda, there are people in the Democratic Party I've heard before, including the chairman, who seem to say that the NRM have run their course and somehow things are not going right. And that's why anyway you have been opposing them. And that's why you always wanted a change of government so that you can maybe bring in a better government. So when you sit down with them in this cooperation agreement and dialogue with them, are they going to really to accept to dialogue themselves out of power?
You see,
because initially that's what you wanted.
We are in a situation, his Bible story of the kid. One said, cut the kid. And we are saying, don't cut the kid.
The wisdom of Solomon.
Yes, and who loves this kid? The one who is saying cut in the middle, or the one who is saying don't cut the kid? Even if the kid is with you, Patrick, we will nurture this kid there. I am a believer of Christ. We go to church every day, thy kingdom come, thy kingdom come. It has not come. I have not stopped going to church to say thy kingdom come. I have not. I keep going to church, thy kingdom come, because I believe it will come one day. Hope is very important, and if we don't have hope, it's going to be a challenge. And I want to appreciate the people that Honorable Babu has mentioned, but on the negativity, there are people who joined NRM and continue to work with DP. The Honorable Dr. Sewana Chizito actually returned and worked very powerfully and became a party leader. The Honorable Dr. Kawanga Semogerere, the Honorable Zakaro Rum, the Honorable Demiano Rubega, I can count for you. They were there, but there was a mission. And even when they got a problem, they still remained with the cause of DP, and they have contributed to the Democratic Party. Like I said, every time Uganda has a challenge, DP rises to the occasion. This is the occasion, and I want to call upon, I agree that these processes, maybe the national unit, the government of national unity will be the end agenda at the end of the day. But it has to start. You have to get a process of paperwork that gets it there. Even with the national dialogue processes. For instance, in this MOU, we are talking about national unity and reconciliation. Truth-telling, it has never happened. That's a discussion that is even then NRM is bitter about it. When you bring it, they also don't want to talk about it. Who burnt people in Mukura, who has done what, and what has happened. You know, South Africa had to undergo that process. And with that process, they now have something. They are still going through healing process, but it's a process we have to undergo. This is a very difficult question. We also don't know if it will work, but we've gone with hope that something has to be there. And we don't want to always live at the past. People change. People change.
You
and
do
sometimes
not know
people
whether it will work,
but we have
but
to
you
keep
seem
working.
to be like a man who's flying blind.
We have to keep working. I'm not going to use the Samson option. You know the Samson option. I think some people want to push us to the Samson option. Okay, let's start fall down with the entire house. No. We believe that we can do something. And we want to encourage people that there are the aspects in this term, in this cooperation that we bring in that people have not spoken about. And we hope that there are many Ugandans out there. I've also received several calls of people that think this is the right line. We do not want to leave President Museveni in an angle that he feels this nation is alone. I have given you examples of people that did not see eye to eye. And you must appreciate, he's aging. The question of transition without bloodshed is in this agreement.
So,
and we must start a discussion.
So, Dr.
Patrick and
Chairman Mao is going
members,
to be our man, your man in the inside. You know, I read a book called Eli Cohen, Our Man in Damascus.
We have several things inside there. We have said several things. We will also do appointment and all those. We believe that every Ugandan qualified should get an opportunity to serve. We have a radicalized community. Even when your car gets spoiled around Serena on the tire and you're changing, coming from Serena, they will say it's from State House. You know? Very dissatisfied community, radicalized, and deceit. People just wake up in the morning with deceit, with fear. People have lost hope. And we believe that the processes of where we come from, my leader, comes from the history of dialogue, of processing. And he said that engaging Joseph Kony will be a solution. Today, as we speak, Kony may not have been arrested, but the people in northern Uganda are back home. They are not yet there, but because of what he believed in and persuaded many other people that he believed in, President Museveni and the government then Honorable Babu was under, did not believe that there will be a reality.
All right.
Today, as we speak, people are back home and they are aspiring to be better. Uganda is our nation,
all right,
and all of us can have a role to play. Give DP a chance, and let's join hands to rebuild the nation we want.
Dr. Siranda, Honorable Francis Babu, and Honorable Medad Sagona, we're going to take a break. When we come back, let's find out more, because he was talking about hope. Is this move an operation to restore hope or operation to destroy it? We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Dr. Gerard Siranda, Secretary General of the Democratic Party, the Honorable Captain Francis Babu, former member of the Central Executive Committee of the party and former MP for Kampala Central, and we also have the Honorable Medad Sagona, former attorney of the Democratic Party, but also now in the National Unity Platform. This is the moment when you have to get to have your say. You're going to see the numbers on your screen. Please pick your phone and tell us what you think about this cooperation agreement that has been signed between Chairman Mao and President Yoweri Museveni. What do you think about this cooperation agreement?
Between DP and NRM.
I don't know whether it is really DP and NRM, but it looks like I want to be more exact in how I understand this. Okay, so moving forward, I see you seem to say it's a good thing. There's no doubt the Honorable Norbert Mao is highly qualified.
First of all, I have not said it's a good thing.
No.
It's very unhealthy.
For him as a person.
For him as a person, I'm very happy for him.
By the way, he's my brother-in-law. So let me also state that.
Okay.
But so
you have declared your
you have declared that.
Your conflict, your interest.
So he's highly qualified.
Yes. And I think Captain Babu has given us a history. And that's where we need to start from. In 1964, the crossings from DP to UPC and the troubles we went through because of those, my brother Gerard Siranda has again misconstrued the events of Ben Chwanuka working with Idi Amin. Do not forget that Ben Chwanuka was in prison when Idi Amin became a president.
Yes.
He released him from political prison,
Yes.
where he had been put by Milton Obote, and he made him Chief Justice, which is a professional job, and he was not in government. We distinguish these two. When somebody is in the judiciary doing a professional job. I think the closest that you could bring is when Dr. Semogerere and others joined, not NRM. I think there was something.
There were no political parties.
There were no
But
political
there was
parties.
a party. In abeyance, started operating at
see,
a
When
there
the
was
so-called
there
movement
was a
system.
party.
We had no political parties functioning at the time. After the war, the country is torn in pieces, and we were all compelled to operate a movement system. Two, you know the Baganda have a saying, "Edibaliengo teliweka," nguli nyabo yaliwesanga nguli mto wange. That you know when you get a leopard's skin, you don't use it to carry somebody. And you say, no, my late mother used it to carry my late brother. You get the point. They are all dead. They're telling you, because whoever uses it and whoever it is used against will die. What happened when those fathers of ours, in good faith, believed that Museveni is somebody you should work with and went to work with him? They came out complaining. Dr. Semogere resigned because he said, what we agreed, the man did not honor. That's point number two. There were no parties, but two, they also left frustrated men and women. Captain Babu has given the example of the Honorable Maria Mutagamba. You can name people like Honorable Mara Atubo, the Honorable Agre Siriore Awori, may his soul rest in eternal peace. So many people that have opted to work with President Museveni. Now, national dialogue is not about giving positions. National dialogue is about issues. And the issues are discussed by the nation. And the nation is not about two political parties or their leadership meeting together. Even for DP, you can interrogate it further. The organs have not been consulted. And when you asked Gerard Silanda, he says, no. You know what we call statecraft? If you bring it to the open, it collapses on arrival. No, you're talking about national dialogue. It is the nation that is dialoguing. And the nation dialoguing must be in the know. You went stealthily and started discussing. And to show you that these discussions have been there stealthily, when President Museveni appointed cabinet, he omitted to appoint a minister for justice and constitutional affairs. Why? Because he knew what he was going to offer the people he was negotiating with. And it has been discussed before. When they appointed the Honorable Nachwala Chiyinji, and we complained as DP then, he was saying, but look, you people, you're saying we should agree, we should talk. Now we appoint some of you, you complain. What do you want? And we said, Norbert Mao, president, was the first person to say, no, we want to discuss the issues. The issues must be discussed in the open. And now you're telling us that after the negotiations, the signing of the agreement, and the appointment, you're going to go back to the party organs. I have, today, the whole of today, been listening to radio and even social media. The first group to complain are the members of parliament. And in the agreement, the little I've seen, I haven't read about it, you have bound them on voting. They are going to be voting with the NRM. But you never consulted them. He simply stopped along the way when he was telling you, we talked to their whip, Honorable Peter Quote. He called them. I want him to say that we met and agreed.
We did meet.
Who are those five who agreed with you?
We did meet, and the Honorable Richard Rumu, if he's very honest, because he was the lawyer in the team, he was given this document to go through, and they did the changes.
I have been listening.
They did the changes.
The legal advisor, Mr. Arias Luyimbazi Narukola. He disowned.
No,
he said,
he's a member of management. I think
yes, but he's the legal advisor who ordinarily should have drafted this document.
Can I just say something?
You want to give me information?
I want to give you information.
I'll receive it.
I know that we are in a situation, and I'm sure you know, of where certain people from certain areas detoxified information. And some people will go into that defensive. But I want to inform you and let you know that Honorable Nalkola is a member of the management committee. Management squarely discussed this issue and agreed. We had changes within that we wanted. We picked every change within this. And whoever discusses this, I think they have a way, if they are not satisfied with it, they can petition the organs of the party.
Okay. Now, I've received your information. I have told you, your legal advisor, who presumably should have drafted this document, has disowned it and went an extra mile to say, we have never discussed this in NEC. DP has a national council. The National Council is a broader and more representative organ, actually the supreme organ of that party, next to the delegates conference. National Council never discussed this. The delegates conference has never discussed it. You are saying we will discuss it, we will take it and discuss it with them. Now, and you want to convince me now that it is worth joining. You're calling it national dialogue. There are several parties, including those in IPOD, maybe because there is UPC, which is already in some form of cooperation. But you also have a party which is leading you in the opposition. And you're saying that one don't involve.
But this is a party that has even refused to join the interparty organization.
That's
a framework.
Because they gave their reasons. They said, how do we sit with you before we negotiate the release of our political prisoners?
Okay.
Because
let me
DP
bring
does
in,
not have political prisoners,
Captain Francis Babu here. Let me bring in Captain Francis Babu before I take maybe 2 or 3 calls.
To even get you 67 people released.
I still want to use...
DP.
Which people?
Okay, gentlemen, one at a time. I still want to use the words...
About the others. You got them released. We got them through court.
All right, gentlemen. All right,
we got them through court.
And
we got them through court.
All right, gentlemen, if you can...
I come from a civil institution.
Captain Francis Babu, when asking you this question, I still want to use the words of Chairman Mao, because I had an opportunity as a reporter to follow him. And he always said the people who crossed the line, that they lacked political ideology, but rather they had the grocery ideology. And now this is coming with the job.
Now, you see, that goes back to what I told you. If a political party is started on a foundation without actual ideology, those terms start coming up. If you think very carefully and you take back the people who came here to colonize our countries, and you go to their countries and you look at their parties, you'll find that they've got a particular foundation, and that gives them the ideology, including their culture. So if you look at the Conservative, for example, in Britain, and Labour, you can go back and say, this is for the workers, this is for the owners, right? The owners of land, the owners of factories, and these were the people who worked for them, and they were labor. So from there, the whole thing took up, and it has always been that. Our parties, if you go back in the 1950s, were started on certain foundations. One was started because of religious things. Another one joined another religion. We kept going on like that. Then tribes came in. Then after that, we came into something called multi-parties. So we've always had divisions in this country, which basically brought us into segregation. We segregate each other. We hate each other. We even on tribal basis, on religious basis. Now, all those put together bring us to this multi-party. I am saying we have failed to work in the multi-party environment. We have failed. And we must admit there's a problem. Now, that problem is not only the people who are in government, it's also with the other parties. If you hear the kind of mudslinging that goes on between these people, is unfortunate. And by the way, these are good leaders. I want to tell you, I look at these parties and you look at a few of those guys are such good leaders that actually we can have a very good country. What we need to do, and this is very quick now, is we must stop for a moment and say, what do we do? What is the damage control? How can we change this? The problem is not DP going and sitting with President Museveni and coming up with this. The problem is bigger. Because, and I want to ask my brother here, who also belongs to another party, forget about sour graping. Let us sour graping say, why should they do this? They shouldn't have done that. No. There is a reason why it was done. The reason comes from a long history of our problems. How can we get out of this mess so that our political parties, all right, can start working? Okay. How can we do it? And I'm saying this. If you don't do that, and you keep on going on these small things, because the things we're talking about are so small. And the people who are using, you know, whenever there is competition in this country, certain things come out. One of them is tribalism, threatening each other, terrorism, beating each other, insulting each other, saying all sorts of nasty things, and hate. There's a hate in this country now. By the way, when I close my eyes, I can smell it. People hate each other. And there's no need for all this. Why should I hate this man? Why should I hate him? We are one. And therefore we need leaders now who can go above all these things we are talking about, right? And find solutions to these problems and get away from this mess that we are in. By the way, the person who should have done it, and I think he's the one who is in the dock, is the president of this country. He should really say, okay, things have been like this, it's time now to go to another level.
Hasn't that bus left him already?
No, there's this Kiganda saying that akacha mamamera, that when you try to, when somebody was, you know...
Someone told me it's called philosophy concentrated. It's philosophy diluted.
That's right. So basically, I think, and by the way, I hope he's watching. I would beg him that this thing he did today, let him prove to all of us that is done in good faith. And even invite others. Talk to them. If you can talk to Konyi, you can talk to, what's that lady who was? Lekwena. If you can talk to different people who were fighting in the north, actually these people were fighting with guns. If you can go here and talk to the people in Sudan who
people
are fighting.
Like the Chwerus are running.
Yeah, and the Chwerus, you know. Why can't you talk to these other people?
Okay.
So time has come. We need a national dialogue.
Our time is running out, gentlemen.
Yes.
I want to give an opportunity, if there's one who is ready to give up, to call us and tell us what you think. Only one or two people are going to give you the opportunity to speak, if you can. If that's not the case, then I'm going to ask my panelists to give us their concluding remarks right now. I have a caller online. Hello. Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah, it's gone off.
Oh, it's unfortunate. All right, maybe let me try if I can get another caller online. And if that's not the case, let me try one more. Hello, I have a caller. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, what's your name?
Yeah, my name is Gustavo Fring.
Gustavo.
Yes, and I would like to thank you for the fruitful deliberations.
You're welcome.
My question goes out to the Mr. Siranda.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is going to happen if Mao steps down from the position of presidency? Are members like Segona welcome to join the party? Thank you.
Gustavo.
That's an interesting question.
Okay, I understand there are other people who would want to maybe ask a question or two, and let me try to take just one more.
Hello?
Hello? Okay.
Maybe Akuvuma.
Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to the line.
We haven't picked the analogy. I would have loved to hear the analogy of that pregnant woman.
You will go. Let me just take one more caller. Hello? Hello? I have a call online. Hello? All right. Unfortunately, is unable to. I want you, sir, to respond to that question and then to give us your concluding remark.
Thank you, Mr. Gustavo, for the very good, interesting question. The party grows with members. We've never sent the Honorable Segonas away. In fact, we miss them. We appreciate their contributions. He knows how much I keep running up to him. to get back to the party. I know he's not happy where he is because he keeps talking too much about DP and appreciating DP. It's very important. We appreciate the history and the time we've worked together. The good thing, they're continuing to contribute to the democratization processes of Uganda. We welcome every member to come to the party. They know home. We will actually slaughter a very big cow to celebrate their come back home because
the prodigal son.
We believe that they are good people. The Honorable Norbert Mao signed this commitment as a party leader of DP. There is nothing like he should step down. He has commitment from the delegates, and Dr. Semogere did not step down. I know that Sevana was treasurer of the party. He did not step down. I know Zakar Rum was the organizing secretary of the party. He did not step down. This is a commitment. In fact, the Honorable Mao's continuity of being a party leader in that cooperation agreement allows to sell the DP agenda and the DP idea that we believe in the Uganda for all. We believe truth-telling and reconciliation. We believe in a national dialogue. We believe in the healing of Uganda, and we believe that our constitution and our politics should be fixed. We have a politics that is detoxified. We have a politics that is radicalized. We want to be Uganda, and we hope and pray and continue encouraging every member of DP that still has a doubt in this process. That is a process that has delivered somewhere. It is delivered peace in Kenya. It is delivered. You needed to get the former president of Sudan, Bashir, and Dr. Garang in the same room for them to even have an inch of getting Sudan seceded. You needed to get a cooperation arrangement between Uncle Bob, Robert Mugabe, and Morgan Richard Changarai for them to grow. And we believe that the DP idea, the DP agenda that believes in the DNA of nonviolence, that our belief, and we believe that we can engage with anybody. We will not confront, we will not fear to confront anybody. We can engage with the opposition, and we can engage with those that have the ball. President Museveni, for now, has the ball for Uganda, and we want to continue going out to them. This country belongs to all of us, and we believe that all of us have a role to play.
Thank you.
DP has demonstrated what it can do. We want others to also bring their contributions. If they pull out the better alignment within, we'll appreciate. I want to encourage you to read this MOU, this agreement of cooperation, pick out what is there before you start sending out. You appreciate what is there so that you help us.
I have it.
So that you help us, all of us accountable to whatever we have penned to put Uganda ahead.
Thank you so much. Let me come to you, Honorable Medad, because he also mentioned you, so you make your concluding remark.
Well, first of all, I'm happy when somebody asks if DP will welcome me, and Gerard says there was not a bull for me.
They want to welcome you like the prodigal son.
I have always
that you are.
When Jesus was living, he told his disciples that in his Father's house, there are so many places.
And if it weren't so,
he would have told us. And he went to do exactly that. I am always happy to carry my young brother and my former deputy along with me to NUP. And not only him,
the other way around.
I've always said, even if it means taking President Museveni to NUP, I'll take him, because I believe, yes, in working together, but only in honesty and transparency. And two, our cooperation is limited to principles, not personal gains and appeasement. I saw a tweet by one of my friends who is a member of the DP-NRM, Councillor Nachanja, and she said, "Rest in peace, my party."
Why didn't she say that when her sister left?
You have not asked her.
Why?
You should be close to her. You know why she's raising this? Is because she's a member of NEC. That's the point I'm driving at.
She's the young sister to Nachuala. When Nachuala left, why didn't she say that? It's a fair.
That's
people
correct.
have to be fair.
Exactly, that's correct. I am now demonstrating to you the level of engagement that you should have put in place. Like I did say, first, if it makes a difference, let me congratulate the Honorable Norbert Mao on his appointment. I hope and pray, like Captain Babu said, he hopes and prays that for the first time, General 7 will be truthful, honest, and honest to the country. He doesn't have to be honest to me as Medat Lubega. Let him be truthful and honest to the country. For once, let him care about this country, especially in his evening, because people want to leave a legacy. Especially when you reach that age, it's an age where you must establish and leave a legacy. For the political parties, and let me say, I've said before, I believe in national dialogue because there are issues to be discussed. But you see, you do not get there and you say, let me first enter. Then we start the dialogue. You must have the framework first for dialogue. I think Captain Babu has helped us.
Enter and prepare the framework.
You see, that's the problem.
Just come.
You set, if you believe in dialogue, you set up a working committee and say, let's thrash out the issues. Captain Babu has pointed out two important entities. The elders in this country, the Interreligious Council, as people who were non-partisan, who were witnessing what we were going through. I remember Interreligious Council calling us to their offices in Namirembe at some point during the mayoral elections, which were bloody in Kampala. And we were saying, our children, can you stop this? Now, you have not involved them. You have not developed a framework. You have not established a working cooperation. One of the key ingredients or the key stakeholders that you should be involving in this national dialogue, one, whose state, let me use the word state to be neutral, that you rigged them out, whose members you killed at each and every political rally, campaign rally, where you killed not less than 3 people by shooting, and you have never prosecuted anyone, are not party to this dialogue. Who are you dialoguing with? So, in conclusion, since you said time is against us, President Museveni carries a huge burden unto him, his shoulders. One, he found a torn country, and I must say, to whose tearing he contributed. Because you cannot accuse me of the chaotic and acrimonious past. I was not party, I was not a player. In 1971, President Museveni picked up a gun. In 1980, he picked up a gun. In all the subsequent years, he's been fighting. As Captain Babu said, he should be leading the way to national reconciliation and even reconstruction.
Okay.
So my take is, I hope this signing is not going to disorganize DP even further.
All right.
It is up to them, since they decided to lead the way, to go back and calm down the tempers in their party.
We are going to walk across this nation popularizing the ideas that we believe in, because we believe that everybody should come on board.
So what,
all right. Thank you, gentlemen. Let me have Captain
the cat
Francis
or
Babu.
the horse is entirely their
Captain
business.
Francis Babu, your parting shot. 2 things.
There's a little book which was written many years ago, and some people used to do it at advanced level. And the title is I Stoop to Conquer. I want Ugandans to stop and stoop so that we can conquer these bad manners that are within our leadership. I want us to pray, because our children and our grandchildren, I have them now, and our posterity wants a Uganda that is one and united and good. These political parties are, by the way, it's the people of Uganda that are important. These political parties are ideas. They are not the people of Uganda. The people of Uganda right now are being given all sorts of stories. They are using social media to confuse them. We want a secure nation. A prime minister of Singapore said, please, you political parties, don't turn this thing into an auction. Stop auctioning our country. Because even when you are contesting, you are auctioning each other. What we want is a united country. And by the way, some of us, when we joined the NRA many years ago, including DP then, which came in with the Mzee Rure, the idea was to bring this country together. Mm-hmm. Are you with me now? That was DP again. Rure was DP. I want us to take this cue today, that these parties should not be the one to destroy this country. They should be the one to stoop and bring this country to the level where it's supposed to be. If they refuse, the people of this country are going to judge all parties. Don't think you are free because you are not in the government itself. There are parties also who have got some very unfortunate things they have done. What we need now, and I hope this can help us, what these people have done, and that's my prayer. Can this show us an example that we can change the way parties work? Because parties are not Uganda. And democracy is not defined, democracy is the party for the party for the party. No, it's the people. Democracy is of the people, for the people, by the people. Not by parties. Parties are vehicles that help us to get there so that we can get leadership. So I want to take this opportunity to everybody listening to us. Please don't be excited by this. Let these people go and sort it out. Let the parties also change their attitude. And I want to take this opportunity now, that although you brought something earlier on when you started, that there are people who stay in the curtain and they are working with the government. They are there in all parties. And one day, some of us, if we get annoyed, we shall give you the names. Even those who were sponsored during the elections. I want to ask them that what you are doing behind the curtains is not good. That if you, and when they come on the television, oh, they talk as if they are angels. I want to say that all these parties, there are good people in them, and there are those who are not angels. All right. And I'd like to end by saying, please, I pray that all parties should come down. Let's find solutions so that multi-parties can start working in this country.
Honorable Captain Francis Babu.
Kamara, you're going to ask Honorable Segona to give me the vote.
Oh, yes, please, for Yala, can you?
Since he's your deputy, I mean, you want him to grow.
Your deputy.
He's your deputy, you always wanted him to grow.
No, grandfather's party, that is indiscipline. Because my deputy asking me for my vote from here. He knows, by the way, he has a campaigner in his house who keeps sending me, sending me messages.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you so much for having such a candid discussion. I know sometimes you don't agree, but that is how it's supposed to be.
Of course.
And that's the nature of debate.
Did you ask him why he had to come when I'm already here?
I was guarding you.
I want to believe that the union of the Democratic Party and the NRM, they mean well. I want to hope that it's because they love their country more than their parties. I want to believe that maybe they will be able to cross us the political Red Sea and reach what they have called the promised land of tranquility and peace and peaceful transition. Good night and God bless Uganda.